Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hi Abhishek.
Hi Prachi, and hi everyone for joining. Today we'll keep it short because things are more or less the same. It's just end of the financial year. Few important things to cover. We'll get done quickly. Right. So Prachi, buckets have actually rebounded. I think
Yeah.
small cap index is up 10%, almost close to, and then Nifty is up about 5%. Just to put it in context, the standard deviation of small cap index is I think 20%. So essentially, half the retracement of a one standard deviation move. What do you think is the reason? Why is
I
everything
think there
looking good?
are I think there are a lot of good pieces of news coming globally. For example, Fed decided to keep the interest rates the same, but indicated that in 2025 they expect rate cuts, right? So this markets globally took this as a very positive sign of soft stance by the Fed. So I think that is one important reason that like played into rupee strengthening
Yeah.
against the dollar. And I think that is one thing. What else
So
do you
I
think is
think
going on?
firstly, like rupee has strengthened
Yeah,
about 2-3%. That is primarily because some of the FPI money has come back.
yeah,
Though in equity they are selling, but they are actually buying government bonds. So you don't have to look at FPI data only from an equity standpoint. You also have to look at government bonds. So there's some buying. The oil prices are low, which means that inflationary pressures are not there in India. So that is helping definitely. And thirdly, like private capex is actually getting applied in the real economy. The Vedanta recently announced about 50,000 crore aluminum and copper capex. So these kind of announcements you'll see more often over this year, which means that new capacity is getting built only because existing capacity is near full time utilization, right? So which is a very important turning point in the cycle where private
yeah.
capex picks up, and this is basically as the private capex peaks at the turn of the economic cycle. So therefore, I think from a long term standpoint, there's still more legs to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Globally, also, good news macroeconomy wise from Europe. German spending plan is doing the trick, and so in that sense, also that is markets globally have kind of
Yeah.
rebounded, and that is also a good sign in general. But Abhishek, still a lot of uncertainty remains
Yes.
because, particularly because of the tariff
Yes.
policy.
Yeah.
So what do you
So
think
I think
about
one
that?
thing is getting clearer is that Trump's style is to go like kind of go full frontal and a full face with a big announcement and then crawl back from that top position. So we are seeing that with tariff also, that he's exempting certain sectors, exempting certain countries. So his style is that he'll make a big bang slant announcement which is going to be shocking, and then he's going to basically dial back from that position.
Yeah, I think the
That
shocking announcements are basically used to negotiate
correct.
more favorable terms. But you're absolutely right. It looks like that the announcements is not where the
The final.
at the end the policy will land.
Yeah, so that is giving some breathing space to the markets to kind of price in this playbook, right? Because it has happened a couple of times. So now that shock isn't that much. And secondly, ultimately, if you look at the global scenario, Fed themselves said that it's economically US is doing pretty good, though they're basically pricing two cuts. But if you look at the press conference, they were questioned again and again that if you're kind of so bullish now, are you really seeing that in 9 months you will need to be in an economy where you have two cuts planned? Because then in 3 months the economy should go pretty bad, and they didn't have an answer for that, right? So I think the economy is doing good, but they're getting pressured from the administration to loosen on monetary side because fiscal needs Congress votes and no on. So typically,
But also they feel confident about the inflation,
yeah.
and so that's why they are kind of willing to even give this soft signal about
Yeah.
future rate
But
cuts.
labor market is very tight, right? So there's an almost full employment in US, 4.1% unemployment, which is equivalent to full employment. So it's a very tricky spot for Fed. So is it for Indian Central Bank. So higher PE is supported by lower interest rates. So the more central banks are able to cut or keep rates low, higher PE stocks will continue to do well, and hence, valuation concerns will become more prominent as rates go up. Right now, you're looking at growth. So I think
Uh,
that's about it.
that's
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
So to summarize, it's very good to see green shoots, and we continue to think that this is great buying time. And in the short term,
yeah,
there will be uncertainty, but there are great opportunities for
yeah.
long term
So I mean,
investors.
this is a great opportunity, right? Whatever you could buy in September at X price, you can get it almost at 20-30% discount now. So in from our standpoint, most of our portfolios there has been no rebalance at all because we still believe in the same stocks, right? So this is the case with many of the long-term investors. So the question really is, what is long-term, and that is always, we say 5 years, right? So 5 years, below 5 years, you have to be lucky to make more than decent returns in equity, right? So if you're ready to wait for 5 years, you don't need any luck. Less than 5 years, make sure you have better luck on your side, right? So
Yeah,
with that said, I
absolutely.
think we'll take some questions.
Yeah.
So
So these are we take live questions as we talk,
hmm,
but also we take questions that are in the comments from the last week's session. And so this is one such question um, from Raj Barate 977. I am a BBA student, and I know this is not a career channel, but how to get into finance, especially equity research? Which podcast, books do you recommend? Abhishek, your thoughts on this?
So I think podcasts are not the way to learn. You can watch lectures which are available in OpenCoursera on MIT in financial mathematics, portfolio management. Lots of good universities they put their whole course online. You have to do that kind of work and spend similar amount of time learning that. As a starting point, Prachi and I we were just discussing this question before we started the this podcast that CFA level one books based on your interest, right? Whether you're interested in macroeconomics or equity or fixed income, they are a good starting point. They are compact and practical to get started. But podcast, it's for entertainment mostly, right? And essentially when you're going beyond, when you want to develop a basic fundamental understanding of your own kind of way of thinking, you have to go with the basics. You can kind of get some nuggets of knowledge in podcast here
Yeah.
and there, but to build a fundamental plinth, I think podcast is not the right way to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, yes, podcast can be informative. There can be more than just entertainment. But as a starting point, unless you have your basics right, you won't get those pieces of knowledge from the podcast. So
Yeah,
again, as Abhishek said, start at the basics,
yeah.
and take it
So I
from
am a
there.
very visual person. So what I do is like at least once a day, every day. I mean, I spend time on YouTube learning something. When typically it's about technology or mathematics, but there are also plenty of good courses from universities like MIT OpenCourseware or other Cornell has a lot of courses posted online. And these courses they teach you about financial mathematics, derivatives, equity, portfolio management, and so on. So please go and see those. It will take you considerable amount of time, but that's actually the amount of time you need to invest to learn something fundamentally good.
Absolutely. Live question.
Yeah,
Okay, great. Um, Aditya Chauhan, rupee has also covered all its losses this year. Why did it happen? And
yeah,
we already talked about this in our
very
discussion, and primarily because of the
the
stance by
reversal,
the Fed,
and the
and
reverse.
but that is also driven by the stance by the
Sure.
Fed, that they expect the interest rates to
Yeah,
go down in 2025, even though they did not cut in this meeting, right? But also FPI.
I think from a 50 country currency basket point of view, I think rupees is around 102 levels, and to that extent, see, I think rupee should perhaps be stronger than what it is right now, but the most of the weakness was and will be due to the anticipated tariffs, right? Which where the rupee will adjust to ensure that the landed cost of goods and services on US shows remains fairly the same. It happened with Chinese yuan back when last time Trump was the president. That time, China and US had a trade deficit of 50 billion. and on the first 50 billion he put a tariff of about 50%, and on the next 200 billion 20%, and yuan kind of depreciated by equal amount so that the net landed cost remains the same. Same thing probably was getting priced in for pharma and IT services, which are the main exports for India. If India is exempt as a country, or even these sectors are exempt, that will definitely cause rupee to harden. And of course, FPIs coming back and buying rupee, selling dollars to invest in Indian markets will also cause strengthening. So these are two main reasons basically.
Yeah.
And of course, oil prices being low, inflation outlook is benign, right?
Yeah.
So one.
Raj Barate has a follow-up question. Also, I forgot to add, but give a roadmap to become a fund manager.
Yeah, so I think fund manager. Just let me the lot of the time of a fund manager is spent in operations compliance, right? So the starting point always has to be research, where you spend most of your time as a research analyst, so that you can become more efficient in research and guide other people to research while you manage the money. So if you are like you're a BBA student, as you mentioned, the first point of kind of getting started, of course, is education. But if you really want to, you should find somebody who is willing to kind of give you some role in financial asset management, right? And be it in relationship management, be it in research, be it in operations, you have to have a starting point, and then you have to navigate from there, right? You cannot stay in the same line if your ultimate goal is to manage money, right? And though managing money sounds very glamorous, but it is, a lot of it is also operations and compliance.
Something as you're learning, we talked about using CFA level 1 books. As you're going through them, it's a good idea as an exercise to kind of pick a few
Yeah.
stocks and create like a pseudo portfolio, a fake portfolio of your own, and track its performance, right? And try to understand why it is going up or down relative to the market, and so on. So this will kind of add a practical aspect to your learning. You're not just like reading the textbooks and following the courses, but you're actually getting something out of it and applying it to kind of track. So that in the short term, this can also get you going few steps on the path.
Yeah, and I think small case allows you to create your own private basket. You can create a basket and track it very easily. Try those things. But thanks for the questions. Very good questions. I think keep them coming. We are also, based on our experience, whatever we can say and how you can navigate your career, we are happy to do that. Really,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you all for joining. And again, do leave your comments, do leave your questions. We'll take them up next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.